the combat cage. He stands 5 foot 10 inches tall, 155 pounds, fighting for Team Trauma out of Ocala, Florida. Ladies and gentlemen, Jonathan Brookins!
Jonathan Brookins is 2-0.
I guess for me, martial arts. It all started as just a young kid. I never got into any traditional martial arts, but I always saw myself as one of those kids who would have a path that would strive to be as perfect as Bruce Lee or as any of those other martial artists. You know, I'm a semi-tough kid. I grew up in a trailer park. You know, I was one of the tougher kids in the trailer park for my peer group. Definitely a leader. Wrestling, I guess, was my first martial arts, if you could call it that. I know that encompasses everything, you know, from the mind, the body, to the mental toughness, to how to use your opponent's strengths and weaknesses against them, and how to, you know, harness your own strength and you know, all that. It all stems from one wrestling coach who was like my first mentor, you know, shaped me who I am. And that's how valuable martial arts is. My experience with mixed martial arts it's been nuts, because it's given me so much, and I've had such a battle with my own brain, with my own self this whole time. A lot of it, though, it stems from drug addiction. You know, like that's the one thing I don't think anybody's ever really known about me. That's been the biggest opponent. There's people I fought, I know that it seems crazy. Looking at this camera now, people could say, well, you couldn't have beaten him, or you couldn't. No, I know I could have. I know I watched what I did in those fights that I've lost, not even fighting them people, just fighting myself. And myself had beat me long before I even stepped in the cage. And I've been fighting a very strong enemy for 5, 6, 7 years. And it's about time to put that opponent away. I would say coming to India so far is proving to be probably one of the best decisions I've made. And I know that a lot of people will tell me that being in Goa is not like being in the real India per se, but the type of tourism that's here is a lot of just an abundance of like-minded individuals. So it's not really like the tourist industry that you would see in like Orlando, like where I'm at, you know, or where I lived before here. It's different. It is a mass congregation of people that are searching for a type of connection, rather. I wouldn't necessarily say it's enlightenment per se, because I don't know if everybody's here for that. But the connection that people are coming here for, the connection that people are seeking is just it's so apparent. It's apparent in the incredible amount of different techniques that you'll see in people using to try to get a little bit closer to a harmony, like a cosmic harmony, if you will, like just a higher power. And I imagine that it's like that in a lot of places that you go in India. I'm reluctant to use that term, finding yourself in a way, because it's like, somebody told me once, no matter where you run in this world, you're just going to keep on running into yourself. So finding yourself is interesting because it's always there. You're always there. You're always found. You're never really that lost. But learning how to exist within, that's really the key. Back in the States, I noticed that I had ceased to move forward at all. Even if I felt like I was going forward, it was definitely one step forward, two steps back. It was a slippery slope and I was going downhill. And I had been doing that for a while. You might think that you're taking positive steps in some way. I hit the gym today, I feel good. But mentally and spiritually, you're going to come right back around to the beginning. So there's going to be like an unhappiness type void that you're going to constantly be supplementing with something. And we use things like maybe like the gym, or like try to get like our physical aesthetics nice, maybe buy some things, and to try to like alleviate some of that stress. And we keep having these like circular arguments. So there was no positive growth in my life whatsoever, no positive growth stimulated whatsoever, and I was ceasing to become a better person. Here it's like the forward momentum is apparent. You do start to see what that path could be like to really expand and grow. And I think that was really my goal from the beginning, is to really tap into that, and to really understand that. Not just as an athlete, but as a person. In the future, I would like to go back to being an athlete. That's uncovered territory at this point, so that's left to be discovered. That's kind of why my way of thinking, when I felt like things back home were one step forward in any direction, but then two steps back, kind of leading you back to the beginning. Very circular argument. I would say that the yoga in the past month is something that I'm still kind of adjusting to, because I'm not used to this lack of like physical exertion. I'm used to really getting my heart pumping and really running and really sweating and really releasing toxins and energy from my body that way. So to take this approach, like a much slower approach, where the breath is really detoxifying, where you're detoxifying through really passive movements and things, is interesting. I'm feeling my body change and my mind, but it's at a pace that I'm not really used to. Coming here to Goa for yoga definitely wouldn't be my, in the future, wouldn't be my first destination to come to by any means. And so to me, my experience here with yoga has been, especially in my course, it was incredible amounts of knowledge. It was a 4-course meal. It was delicious, appetizing stuff, but they handed it to me on a garbage can lid. They were very business-minded. They were definitely indoctrinated by like the Western steez of things, and that was just kind of very unappetizing for me. But I was still able to catch some seeds from a lineage of yoga that stemmed from very far back. So I had to take what was useful and disregard the rest. It's like what Bruce Lee would say. You know, I mean, I think it's not their fault as much as it is the Western ideology that's swept the whole world. Everybody wants, everybody wants more. Everybody wants to be a part of what's the fastest new growing thing. So it's hard to really separate yourself from that. But like I said, I have had the right seeds planted here in Goa for yoga. Being really informed on what Ashtanga yoga is has just been one of the most incredible things that I could have ever thought to offer to my life. Back in America, I was a Bikram guy. I loved Bikram yoga. A very spiritually dry practice in a sense, but very physically exerting, and that was right up my alley. I just got to go in there, physically do something, and physically my body was going through would go through so much changes that, like, mentally you don't have any real choice but to follow suit. But there's so much more that needs to be added to yoga to complete like what yoga is. Yoga is not just a physical activity. Yoga is not just about your physical body. Actually, that's just the part that you use in order to kind of quiet down and really experience the rest of the world. The mental and spiritual part of the world. That's really needs to be. You need to realize how you conduct yourself in that manner to really understand like what yoga is. Just felt like with the yoga course, man, it just was a little bit. It didn't really emphasize like self-growth, like I would have liked. But again, it was a course to become a teacher, so they really had to emphasize, teaching people how to teach other people, which isn't necessarily something that I agree with. That people aren't fit to teach themselves, like if they're not, it just seemed kind of backwards, and I kind of entered the course backwards myself because I knew that I wasn't ready to teach people like today, so like I'm done with the course and I'm not ready to go teach people. But I knew that when I come to India, I knew that I was going to spend a lot of time doing yoga, and by the time I left India, I believed that I would be ready to teach. So I figured get the teaching certificate out of the way and then go about my way, and like we're going now to Rishikesh to where I can really learn yoga, but I'll just have the certificate, so that I can then teach, because you need that little piece of paper, that's all it really is. But it was just so in your face that it was just a piece of paper, and that kind of really started to it became harder to deal with the course that was just about, I thought it was just gonna, but what did I expect? Like I signed up for this, like if anybody has the problem, it's me, like I realized, like I just can't sit there and point out other people's faults, because I'm not them and they're not me, and it's not my place to judge who they are or, say that they need to fix their problems when it's not my place to do that. They have their own individual journey in life, so it was hard to really take what was useful and disregard all the rest. I'd say that numerous times, but now that I reflect on the whole thing, I just I do feel like there's a lot more. There was more self-growth that was offered than I would have expected, even in the negative emotions that you feel. Like you're gonna observe those and hopefully come to terms with them and grow from them. So it was a nice experience for what it was. Radha Rukamani Sita don't think that I'll be stronger as a person, like initially, like right away. I don't think that like I'll get back home to the States and after doing, you know, yoga for 5-6 months here in India, I might just all of a sudden just shatter records. So I'm gonna have to rebuild when I get back as an athlete for sure. I already tried to go for a run the other day and it felt like I hadn't ran ever in my life. It like hurt. Like the next day I was sore like I had ran like 2 marathons, you know. My body's not really cut out for that. It's gonna be interesting, you know. But I feel like really fast I'll be way more adaptable. And I think that it'll take, you know, to turn myself back into an athlete will take no time at all, and I'll be such a sturdier, stronger athlete. And I cannot wait for that portion of the journey. But for now, it's about coming into my own, finding the meditation, finding that space within myself, finding all of that so that I can bring that to the athletic world later. I don't spend as much time thinking about my mistakes in the UFC here in India as I did when I was back home. I think when I first got here, I was definitely a little bit, I was still kind of wrapped up in that, like, what did I do wrong? Why am I not fighting right now, making money, this, that, and the other? I always saw myself as somebody who was fighting for a purpose that was big, you know, big for people. And I thought that, you know, when I was on The Ultimate Fighter. And I want to be able to make people a little bit happier, you know, and heal them, you know, because I know that through fighting, you know, I've caused a lot of damage to myself, emotionally and physically, you know, and I've learned through that how to make myself feel better, and I know I can offer that to other people now.
So really fighting is just kind of like a vehicle for you to offer this message in some ways.
Oh yeah, man, yeah, definitely, man, and I have to be great at fighting in order for this message to mean more to people, you know. If I suck, then people are going to be like, forget what he has to say, you know. So it's very important for me to do well so that I can speak to people and you know, help them out. And then as soon as this show ended, man, I was just trapped. I was like just spiraling downhill, and I'm like, how is this the same guy who had something that seemed like such a, you know, his words made such an impact on so many people, and then all of a sudden I'm just like living a lie, or I'm just like, you know, no substance to me whatsoever. I entered this game and I fought many fights high. They tell Jonathan, I loved your fight with Jose Aldo, it was great, but I look back at it and I was like, I was so high right before that fight, you know. I remember smoking weed minutes before walking out. It's not you versus that other person. It's really not. I mean, that other person is just there to expose you. He's just there to expose all your weaknesses. What work didn't you do? You know, like how, and it's not about how many miles you've ran or how much you've done this. I mean, it really exposes what I've learned. It exposes your weaknesses. And I say weaknesses, your bad habits, your inability to have strong will, you know. And that to me is the most beneficial about fighting. My opponent being myself has been tougher than anybody I've ever even had to try to even fight, because I know that when he's not there, I'm really good. I'm really, really good. So the fact that I can make myself so bad by just being, I mean, it sounds crazy to say, but I feel like I don't have a split personality, but it does. When you have a deep in addiction, it feels like there's two people arguing with each other. One wants one thing and one wants the other. It's a hard way to live, you know. That's the part that really tripped me out the most, is I realized that, like, I started to look at my addictions and I said, okay, I had to be honest with myself. You have an addictive personality, you know, like you had an older sister, she passed away from alcohol abuse, and you have a little brother who you've tried to help who shoots up drugs, and you know, all these family issues, you know, that like, and these are parts of the story that they're along the lines, you know, but ultimately it was my fault why I didn't do well, you know. So when I'm watching people say I could never give this up, I'm saying to myself, and I'm watching their health deteriorate, mind you. I'm watching peers, kids I used to play football with in high school, you know, I'm watching them like shadows of their former self. When I say I try for months to stop, it's like an everyday thing. I wake up and I say, I am going to stop. I am going to stop. Like, today is the day. And I don't, you know. So leading into the Ultimate Fighter finale, I had gotten 1 month sober, and I trained for the fight for 1 month out of like 5 or 6 that I had, and I fought an okay fight. I won.
I'm Karen Bryant for MMA Heat, and I'm here with the new Ultimate Fighter, Jonathan Brookins. Congratulations to you. You must be feeling great right now.
Yeah, man, I do feel great. I think it's going to take a little bit to soak in, man. I'm still kind of beat up, so I'm kind of just, you know, coming back to life a little bit.
That first round was dicey. I'm going to be polite and say dicey, because you were getting, you know, a little manhandled a bit.
Yeah, no, he was throwing shots, man. I think that was not the right feel-out process that I was going for, so... but you know, I ended up you know, rebuttaling quite, you know, decently, and you know, I had a little bit more fun in the second and third round. It was fun the whole time though. I'm just so thrilled to be here, man. More than anything, I'm just thankful for the family and friends that showed up, the people who supported me, man. This, like I've said before, this isn't even my win, man. Nothing, man. I mean, I was in there getting knocked around. That was me. I deserved to be knocked around. Now the part that prevailed, that was everybody else. That was my family, my friends. So they won, you know. I lost, and now I got to improve and come back, you know. So, you know, I'm looking to kind of rebuttal and become a better fighter.
I win the whole finale, and again, I bomb. I just tank. I'm back into just the drugs and alcohol. I knew then that I was throwing away opportunity, losing matches, losing my career in or at least the status that I had, you know, as a mixed martial artist. It's losing. It's losing in ways that's like silly. Like not losing to guys that had top-notch opponents. Each guy that I lost to is top 10 in the world. And it's like if I wasn't fighting myself and them at the same time, I would have easily. It's not like easily, but I know I'm the winner. I know I'm supposed to be the winner. I'm beating myself. Is where I'm at.
What was it like mentally? Was it a struggle for you? What was it?
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much slowed my momentum down myself, man. I derailed myself and kind of just, I don't know, man. I couldn't focus, man. I couldn't see the goal. I didn't really have any goals, you know. I didn't really know what to do next, you know. I know that my job is to be a fighter and stuff, but sometimes, you know, I can be left for a guy like me a little bit unfulfilling, you know. At times, you know, I want something to fight for, you know, rather than just fight to fight. And now I feel like I definitely have come to a place where I know that I need to fight in order to get to where I need to go in life. So now it's more of a necessity more than anything. It's a nice place to be, man. It definitely fuels some fire.
My body's definitely showed me that I need to either shape up now, and I ain't gonna last that long. I knew that I just need to fight one more time to get the money to get to India, because that was my plan. Like, something about me just told me, it's like, this is ridiculous. You can sit here in America and fight in this big old system and keep doing this and keep trying to be, you know, big tough fighter and do this for girls and introduce yourself as hi, my name is Jonathan, I fight in the UFC, blah blah blah, and like that be life. You can keep doing that for as many years as you want. You know what? You could probably do that till you're 35, 40 years old making money. And think you're traveling the world because you're traveling with the UFC, and you go to Beijing for, you know, a day or so and fight and for 5 days and get a couple hellos and things and go back home. But it's like, it's not immersion, and that's not life. It couldn't have gone worse for me once I even got to Vegas. I remember thinking to myself, I'm like, man, you need to get to India, man. Like, you can't wait for this. You can't prolong it, man. You need to get out. So it's like, as I was laying there on the floor, it wasn't a matter of like, you got to do this to win the fight. You can win this fight. It was like, you need to get up so that you can have the money to go to India. And that was my only motivation. It had nothing to do anymore with fighting. I was completely checked out for the time being. So once the bell rang and I was actually beating up on the dude, and the dude was, you know, like, he was definitely in a hurt position, I just remember thinking to myself, like, this is odd, because if you press right here, you can win. It's like that feeling that you get it in all the fights. Like, you know when there's an opening to win. You just, like, your spidey senses go off, and you're like, this is my opportunity to pounce and win. And I remember thinking that, and then just being like kind of blah about the whole thing. And then it's like, you know, it's by the end of the first round, you know, I just get caught in a little silly choke, don't even really want to fight it off, and I was just happy. I was just happy to be. I was disappointed, you know. That's hard. That was hard. It was hard to be. I'm still trying to put my finger on what emotion that was. I'm being so sad over losing something that, like, I really didn't want that bad. It's funny too. They always tell you. They say, "Oh, the problem with running away is that you always run into yourself." You know. So it's like, I know that like what's gonna change over there? You know. Well, I'm still gonna be me, and those things are not gonna go away. I know that. That's one thing. I don't have any preconceived notions of, like, oh, magically my addictions and things are gonna go away. No, I know those things are gonna be with me for the rest of my life. I'm gonna always want and like and do these things. I don't know how that works or why it is, but that voice inside my head will never be quiet. And this I know through trial and error, and I know from other people who've been sober for 40 years and say, oh, that voice is still there. It's just about how you overcome it. Well, that's fine. I know where to get the tools for that. But what's my plan of action? What do I feel like I'm going to do once I learn how to just quiet those voices, quiet my mind, empty my mind rather, you know? I came here and started off incredibly strong. I was so taken back by just the sheer amount of just coconuts and papayas and just wonderful fruits that I could eat, you know. And I just jumped right into it just like that, and I felt like I was really making some ground as far as cleansing myself. And everybody's giving me a hard time. Nobody quite understood it. They, oh, you need to eat this, you need to eat that, you need to eat more. You're not eating enough. I was eating like 10 coconuts a day, you know, like just incredible amount of just nutrition, you know, nutrition that your body understands, and fruits, that's my ideal.
Yeah. So we'll be back tomorrow.
What I prefer to eat is readily available in India. I'm just blown away here in Goa by the coconuts, by the fresh fruit, by, you know, like that it's just available at such a cheap price. It's incredible, you know, and that's my preferred food. Because back home I was pretty much fruits, vegetables, and nuts and seeds, and that was about it. I don't eat things that are cooked or anything. When the sun's up right now, I'm just only eating fruits. And that's it, just fruits. It's something that the sun has grown for me. So I feel like the sun is ripening food and growing food for me during the day. Then I need to respect that and appreciate that and enjoy it in full abundance. When the sun goes down, I've been allowing myself kind of one meal. It's fairly easy to be healthy here. Coming from America, I was having a lot of skin issues, a lot of breakouts. You know, I was talking about it on camera. Sores on my lips and things just breaking out. And I could never get those things under control back in America without heavy antibiotics. To come here and to kind of like really, in an Ayurvedic sense, kind of look at like my body constitution. So like the Ayurvedic medicine has been, and it has offered an incredible change on my body.
And the massage, you know why we're giving it to you. The massages are actually to open up your channels, the nadis and the srotas that we call. Okay. So it's like an acupuncture, like we do in Chinese. Similarly, in Ayurveda, we are opening up the canals of your body. So this helps to open the canal, allow the ghee to get absorbed into the body, and further on help your body to get cleansed up properly. After that, we have just put him to the steam box, because then the steam helps him to open the canals again, because that's in Ayurveda we work completely on canals or channels of the body. So these channels are opened up and he feels more comfortable, and the ghee which he has taken is more absorbed in the cellular region, in the cells. Ghee is clarified butter. This ghee is just not the ghee which you use in cooking. We have special companies here which we make it work with the help of medications or special decoctions, special herbs. And the ghee selected for him was also depending on his doshas, depending on how his tongue was showing signs, depending on his pulse, how it was.
So right now I'm doing a panchakarma. It's a cleansing technique in Ayurveda. It consists of drinking warm ghee every morning. Ghee is kind of like a holy butter here, made from cows, but it's considered very holy. So you drink this ghee every morning for about 6 days. Then on the 7th day, you take a pill that's going to make you throw up all day long. Like all day long. But what the ghee does is it's supposed to bind to a lot of toxins inside of your body. So you drink that ghee every morning. Tomorrow will be interesting because the end of the treatment, they make me throw up 20 to 30 times in one day.
And tomorrow when you come up here, we are going to give a colonic. First a massage for 1 hour. Yeah, this is called Abhyanga. After that a colonic, which will be like about 700 ml with special herbs, which will actually help you to clear the air or toxins which are present in the lower areas. Okay. Later on we are going to give you a special medicine which is 2 tablespoons with hot water. Also when we are doing panchakarma, it is a cleansing of canals taking place. So what we do is we flush out the bad energies which are present in the body. So what also happens is during the panchakarma, the person starts feeling very tired and emotional. As soon as the panchakarma is over, the person starts to get more aggravated, like good energy. The person starts to be lighter, and the energy is flowing in the mental and physical energy is more clear, making him feel positive and for a longer time. Tomorrow we are going to put him for a detox, wherein we are going to give him some medications, and we are going to give him this medication after giving a colonic, and this will try to flush his toxins out and help him to clear out, making him go to the toilet maybe between 3 times to 13 times or 3 times to 15 times. We will see how he reacts tomorrow.
Coming into today, my last day of the cleanse, I knew that on the last day it was like a purging day, like there was no ghee, you pretty much, it's self-induced vomiting. So I thought it was going to be self-induced vomiting, but it ended up being self-induced diarrhea, which was insane. I mean, it was just like unbelievable. It's the most uncomfortable thing ever, like it's self-induced. It's like a fitting way to leave Goa as well. Some things were a little off kilter, so it's really kind of fitting to kind of like have this like kind of just like flush out day, and then leave a little bit lighter, less baggage, and kind of go about my way. It seems very fitting. I believe the essence of living in harmony has been preserved here in India, and I'm quite thankful to be able to experience and learn as much as I can from the people who share it with me. So I'm really excited to continue on, and I really hope to find the ashram that suits me to continue learning and continue learning what yoga really embodies. It's crazy, it doesn't all hit you at once when you get here. You hear all these stories about Rishikesh, you hear about the yoga that's here, you hear a million different things, but nothing can really prepare you for what you're going to experience when you get here. And I think that the experience is really in the eye of the beholder. I think that everybody, when they come to Rishikesh, is going to pull different things from it, depending on what you're looking for when you get here. That's all I know for now. That's it. I've been just searching, because like I said, these answers are hard to find here, and you got to really go within yourself, and you got to really trust that flow of the world and find that flow and get inside of it, and let it just kind of take you. Especially here with Mother Ganga, like offering so much purity, like every single day, just allowing to kind of just submit to that flow. You watch it flow every day, and it's got its own direction. You realize that you're just a part of that. You can try to go upstream as much as you want, but eventually you're just going to have to submit and start going in the direction that the Ganga wants you to go. And that's kind of what life is at right now for me.
Trayambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtivardhanam Urvarukmi varbandana mrityo mukshiyamamritat. Trayambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtivardhanam urvarukmi varbandana mrityo mukshiyamamritat.
big, man. It's big to be able to come here and to just immerse yourself. But I can say one thing: it takes a lot of time. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen in a week. It doesn't happen in 2 weeks. This is something that is a lifetime process. So, as the camera sits on me now, there's not much change that you can notice yet. But I can assure you that it's taking place, and with more practice and with more effortless effort, things will come to light. So upon first getting here, one of the first things I was kind of exposed to that they didn't have in Goa was, I guess, Sadhus, I think they're called, the guys on the side of the road who are supposedly just kind of aesthetics. They abstain from everything. It's a life choice. They're not equivalent to like homeless people in America, even though they seem very similar. You know, they sleep on the side of the road and they ask you for money. I was told by somebody to experience them, to give them a shot, you know, because some are like masters, you know, masters without a following, and then others are like, you know, kind of like con men, like hustle guys. So my first one that I came in contact with that I felt like giving an honest chance to was an interesting experience, because he told me that he could take me to the Beatles ashram where the Beatles used to study with the Maharishi, and you know, we went on a journey. This guy was just like, spoke very little English, but he knew the Beatles ashram like the back of his hand, you know. So he took us in there and was just giving me this grade A tour. And I'm thinking, you know, like I might have met, you know, like a friend, you know, like I might have met somebody who's gonna, you know, possibly share things in culture with me, you know. And like this guy, he's not gonna want much, you know. I'd already gave him 100 rupees just for nothing, you know, just for stopping by and things like that. So the guy, you know, shows us around, and he's moving really fast, and he stops for a little while, and he, you know, smokes his stuff, and which is, you know, is all part of his you know, which is all a part of his ritual.
Won't you come out to play? Breathe a brand new day. The sun is up, the sky is blue, it's beautiful, and so are you, dear. Won't you come out to play? Dear Brookins, open up your eyes. Sunny sky. The wind is low, the birds will sing, with you are more of everything, dear. Won't you open your eyes? Look around. Let me see you smile. Dear Brookins, like a sleeping child. The clouds will be a daisy chain, so let me see the smile again, dear Brookins.
साथी दरबार की जय काना ज्वाला माई का बोल साथी दरबार
जय श्री रामचंद्र भगवान की जय। ओम गंगे मैया की जय। ओम नमो।
You know, once it was all kind of over, it was kind of like really bittersweet because, you know, I was really thankful this guy was sharing, opening up, but then he just asked for 1,000 rupees, 1,000, which is way out of line, you know. It's like I ended up giving it to him just be off the strength of like, if it cost me 1,000 rupees just to realize that I can't really trust those guys like I thought I could, then it wasn't really too much, you know, of a lesson learned. But that was just kind of where that one. It's not really about the money, but it was just kind of disappointing that at the end, you know, the guy really had kind of like a hustle mindset. So here it's like where quality of life again is you know, structured around, you know, the dollar. You know, people need it just as much. So it's you can't blame people for wanting to make $1. But in the pursuit of yoga, does it get a little conflicting? Does it get a little bit hard to weed through and find exactly who and what to listen to or who and where to go? Definitely, because sometimes you're going to go to a place and they seem so genuine. Like the Sadhu, for instance, who seemed just like such a genuine guy. Like he's not going to need much. He's on the side of the road. And at the end just hustles you like hard, you know, like super hard. And the same thing kind of be with some of the yoga instructors, you know, here, you know, you go in and you're expecting somebody who's spent their whole life, you know, pursuing a deeper part of themselves, a deeper path. Sometimes it just stops at the $1, and that's just kind of really disappointing. It's been kind of the hard part here.
Inhale, both hands up under sky. Exhale, release. Good, nice.
Focus your mind on the breathing and bring the mind.
Since leaving America and coming here, I would say my yoga practice has evolved, but not in a sense that you could look at me and say, this guy is light years ahead of where he was, you know, just a month ago. I would say that there's just been seeds that have been planted that I didn't have access to before, and I didn't really know that before. All I was just soil, just empty soil, good fertile land. But I thought for sure things were growing, and they weren't. Nothing was really. I didn't have any seeds to even plant. So here it's taking that soil and it's really planting these seeds. And now I need the time to really just fertilize, water, time for things to grow and mature. And that's really where I'm at now. It's you can't really see the fruits of any of my labor because it hasn't really had the time to do that. So in due time, things will take place, take shape, take form. I feel like it didn't take long though to get in the swing of things, to take a couple classes and to ask around and to figure out who was real and who was fake, and for the most part, you know, they're different, a lot of them, but they're all just as real as the next. And that's kind of like the different forms of the yoga here. I've been so thankful to really try some different styles. My mind is opening up to so many different styles of yoga, and my path to yoga was really just starting. But one thing I learned in a lecture that we were just at is that like yoga really starts when you start to make it your own, when it starts to become your own path. Like when you really make yoga your own is really like when the yoga starts. But it takes a lifetime to really make yoga a part of your life. So it's a constant pursuit, one that I'm extremely thankful for.
Trayambakam yajamahe sugandim pushtivardhanam urvarukmi varbandhanam mrityo mukshiyamamritat. I think the thing that I'm most pumped about, or the thing that I'm finding the most connection with, is definitely Ashtanga. I think Ashtanga for me and the 8 limbs is something that like I think is going to be the most beneficial thing that I bring back home for me personally. But there's just so many different things that I think, like as an athlete, that'll help not only me but other athletes, like Iyengar yoga. Like I think Iyengar yoga is one of the best sports therapies that I've ever seen before. I've never even seen things like this before, with the props being used and how beneficial it is for just your whole entire body. I'm like, why are there not more Iyengar studios around every sports team? You know, it's unbelievable. So I mean, that's another avenue to go down. I'm just starting, you know, this is my first time here, but this is another place where I could see myself coming back to ideally once a year for the rest of my life to study.
Inhaling Utkatasana, exhaling Samasthiti. Inhaling Utkatasana, exhaling Uttanasana. Urdhva Uttanasana, spine straight. Jump, Chaturangandasana, dog down. Bring the right leg between hands, Virabhadrasana.
You have to bring this back with you, because you realize what you came here searching was an escape from everything back in America. I mean, not everything, but it was an escape from the negative things that you've allowed to like fester inside of you, that you've allowed to be a part of you, that you've allowed to be a part of your personality, be a part of your viewpoint, your perspective of the world, you know. And that's so many people. And I feel like if you come here and you don't take the time to self-analyze, and they say that's where it starts, when you can really start to self-analyze yourself. A lot of people say that's when yoga starts, is when you can really start to be aware of the things that are your shortcomings, rather.
Now putting your upper hand on the waist, inhaling, coming back, both hands on the waist, exhaling, feet together, toes together. Now the Parivirta, Trikonasana, bring your right leg back, change your foot.
It's not easy to find though, it's definitely not. I mean, because it's just as easy to come here and remain that person that keeps you down, to remain that person that impacts the world in a negative way. Bad habits don't always have to mean substance, you know. Bad habits could be the way you treat other people. It could be the way you think about other people only. It could be the way you judge people. There's a whole lot that goes to evolving as a person, and that's really what the beautiful part about yoga is. It assesses all those things. If you look closely in it, it has truly the answers to everything. I mean, in the most scientific way. I think that was always my problem with religion. It was like there was just so much faith in it. Like, you know, we don't have the answer for this. Well, just, you know, just have faith that God knows the answer. That's the truth. Like here, there's definitely an understanding of a higher power, and you have, you know, like Brahman, like the universal, you know, the universal all, these names for things that are like the universal consciousness, this, that, and the other. But like scientifically, they touch on almost every single aspect of humanity, right down to just like the molecular structure of things. It's an unbelievable science. I think I'll get back into the UFC for sure. I have a lot to fight for. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But also I think the competition between two people like that, I think is one of the best learning lessons I've ever come across. I think there's not many things in this world that evokes as much emotion from an individual as getting inside of a cage and fighting with somebody. And I think that looking at your emotions or being like, you know, it comes from, you know, being aware, self-assessment. And that's what fighting to me has become. strictly a learning tool. And my teachers are my opponents and my peers. You know, they get in there and they're ready to expose me of all my weaknesses. They're ready to break me down, and I need to confront those things. And I don't know, the more I look at it like that, the more I start to appreciate fighting. Mentally, it'll be a whole different ballgame when I get back. I'll have a whole different way of living, a whole different way of conducting myself during the day. I'll wake up differently. I'll go to bed differently. I'll see the world differently throughout the day. I'll have a different way about myself, which will allow me to evolve. It'll allow me to mold and shape into a person that I would have never ever been able to become had I not learned the things that I learned here.
The lights are about to go down inside the joint at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Tulsa, Oklahoma, after what was an epic night of mixed martial arts for Legacy Fighting Championship number 29. Let's see how the return plays out here for Jonathan Brookins. He does come in the favourite thanks to MMAOddsbreaker.com. Nick Kalichis and the crew have him at minus 780. The comeback on Fuller at plus 460. On the Access TV Fights app, 84% of you believe that Brookins will win, only 16% favouring Cody Fuller.
Brookins looking very confident standing up here.
What's he looking to do here, Brookins?
Well, Brookins doing a good job controlling the hip. You see him straighten the leg now and then to control the legs and the hips.
Brookins, who's fought the likes of Luis Palomino, Michael Johnson, Wagner Rocha, Stephen Ledbetter, Jose Aldo, Jose Figueroa, and many more.
I don't know if that banana splits isn't going to work on a guy that does yoga, though. They're pretty flexible. Cody Fuller not really liking the stand-up.
Oh, gets tagged with the right hand, which is what you want to do against the southpaw.
Break!
And we go to the towels. 10-9, so Brookins, says Pat Miletich. Brookins cornered, telling him keep the fight on the ground. Don't scrap with Fuller.
Right.
Fuller's got to throw more than one or two shots to get inside.
Fuller drops down, Brookins sprawls.
Brookins shutting everything down. Showing his experience. Brookins trying to work that choke in. He's getting close.
And this could be it for Fuller. He taps out. Brookins successful on his Legacy debut. Successful at 125, even though we should note he did weigh in at 128 yesterday.
And showed good composure coming back.
What was the game plan going into the fight?
Just to like relax and have fun. You know, I'd been over a year since I fought, so I just kind of wanted to just get in there and just see how like everything felt. I just went and I traveled for a while. I went to India, and I was just kind of like learning about the body and yoga, and I came back and I thought, you know, maybe there's something more. There's some limits that I could press my body, and something I could learn through this experience. Like not just cut weight just to cut weight or to be a fighter, but there's maybe something about myself I could learn through this experience, through testing those limits. So to kind of transcend just fighting, and it seemed to do its purpose. I learned a lot, and that was the whole goal, was to learn more about myself.